It is still 5 o'clock. Oh, 5:01, and I'll call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. We'll begin with the roll. Alder Lefebvre? Here. Alder Decker? Here. Alder Perella? Here. Do we / can we have anybody online? Okay. Alder Feldy is unexcused. Mitchell is here. We have a quorum. Will you all please join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, then, barring objection from committee, we will move over item number 4, which is the introductions, and seeing none, we'll move into item 5, which is approval of the minutes from the October 28th meeting. Any discussion on those minutes? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes from October 28.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no discussion on the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. Minutes are approved. Takes us into item 6, which is RO number 752425, submitting a tax levy report that supports the 2024-2025 budget for Lakeshore Technical College District, and a copy of the district-wide apportionment of the tax levy based upon the 2024 fully certified values furnished by the Wisconsin Department of Revenue.
Good evening. The item before you comes through annually. This is what we use to calculate the tax bills for the residents of the city.
Questions or comments? I don't believe there's a requested action on this one.
Oh.
So seeing no discussion, we'd be looking for a motion to file.
I make a motion to file.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. That one is filed. Takes us to item number 7, which is RO number 76 of 2425, submitting an exit interview report for quarter 3 for the city of Sheboygan.
I'm trying to catch up my computer. Nothing works. Say that. Good evening. So, you guys are really challenging me when you make me use my fingers to do this stuff. So before you, you have the third quarter exit interview summary. And the third quarter may review a few more negative comments. This, again, is a lag from what came through and some of the processes that we were cleaning up back in August at this time. So not to say that it's all that negative, but probably more so than the first 2 quarters that you're used to. There's some good things that came out of this one. Some of the, strongly agrees for supervisory support training and that. Any specific questions?
Any questions or comments, Alder Perella?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there is a value added to this regardless of the results, right? Results are, it's part of it, but it doesn't, it relatively matters. But my question is, as you asked for possible improvements, or suggestions. Remind me, this is not mandatory, right? The exit interview is optional.
Well, if they want their PTO payout, it is tied to that. So we get a lot of participation.
But if someone doesn't have PTO left, for example, they can go without having the exit interview.
True, but we've had a lot of cooperation. So as an example, for the police department, they don't have to participate, but for all of those that have left, resigned, and retired, they have been participating.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to suggest if this could become mandatory, just to increase the data.
Yes,
collected.
You do get a better sample if you have more people.
To have a more representative sample, right. Of course, so that's all. But if you think it is a fair sample, then that is fine.
Yes.
Any other discussion on this one? Okay, just one from my end then. The obstacles question, now it's about still 2-1 favorable, not counting neutral and disagree, but I did notice it is cumulatively the most disagreements we've had. Are there specific items that are coming up more than once that we're seeing some sort of pattern of one or two areas to address? Is it general among different positions, different departments?
Communication seems to be a highlight of, and a pretty constant across all the departments. So I think we are, knowing that, we're looking at that and trying to ensure that the department heads are actually delivering information all the way down and across the lines of all staff. And I think that's extremely important. It is very difficult when we're all separate, but we just need to keep looking for better ways and more ways to communicate to staff.
Thank you. If there's no more discussion on this one, we'd be looking for a motion to file, but before that, Alder Decker.
I guess, and I know it's difficult to, I mean, is it mostly the ones that are giving a positive? Are there a lot of retirees, or is it more of the, is it kind of a mix, or are the retire? That's, I guess that's. I know you can't get too into it because you want to keep it neutral, or keep it so people can't tell. But
Right. And I have to remember, because when I'm looking at this, it's just it's a summary of everybody. I would say that it's probably more of a mix.
Okay.
I really believe that it's more of a mix. Certain areas haven't really popped out. It just depends on the, person's position when they were here.
Okay.
And kind of the relationship they've had. But we've had really a lot of very positive feedback, great experience, would recommend, to anyone to come and work for the city. That's more of what we're looking for.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, so now we would be looking for that motion to file.
I make a motion to file.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. That one is filed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is item number 8, which is resolution number 112 of 2425, a resolution authorizing the finance director to transfer the Marina Fund advance from the general fund to the capital fund.
Thank you. You may recall from last year, we actually did a transfer from debt service fund to the general fund, which would move that balance that the Marina Fund owed to the debt service fund out of debt service. The reason we did that was for legal reasons, to make sure that we were compliant with restrictions on debt service funds. When we went through our debt issuance for this year, however, it came up that the use of that fund balance from general fund could potentially hinder our rating in the future. So we wanted to use capital funds instead to make up that gap for this time. Again, we are working with the city administration to come up with a plan for the Marina Fund to repay that debt. But at this time, we need to have it somewhere that can be repaid, and we prefer not to have it in the general fund.
Questions or comments on this one? Alder Perala.
And just for my own sake to understand what we did actually. So we moved the funds to the Marina funds from the general funds and to the general funds from the debt service funds. So now we take it back from the Marina funds, we put it directly back to the general funds, and then we will find ways to replenish the debt fund or to move the money back into the Marina funds.
Sure. Let me map it out maybe a little easier. So back in the day, throughout the various years, this has been an outstanding balance from the Marina Fund has owed money to the debt service fund up until last year. When we found out from our auditors that that was a practice that should not have occurred, we came forward and asked for council to approve moving the debt or we'll say the money owed from Marina that was previously owed to the debt service fund. We moved it so the Marina then owed the general fund. Now with our review of how we stand and with working through the rating this past year, we are now requesting that instead of the Marina owing general fund, the Marina will owe the capital fund. Does that help?
Yeah, a little bit, but I guess that I'm confused between the, you use interchangeably the general funds and the debt service funds. The debt service funds is not part of the general fund, right?
Correct.
Right, so you have to move it 3 steps, basically, not
Yes.
just 2.
We already did the debt service fund is already out of it. We did that last year. So
Okay.
now we're moving it from general fund to capital fund. So then when the Marina fund starts making money, hopefully to repay some of this debt, it'll do annual transfers to the capital fund instead of general.
Very good, now I got it. I thought that we were doing the 3 steps to, now again, but now I get it. Okay,
Sounds
thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this one? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second, then all in favor of approval?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Next up is item 9, which was Resolution 113 of 2425, a resolution authorizing the finance director to amend the 2024 budget and transfer fund balance from the Workers' Compensation Insurance Fund to the Health Insurance Fund.
Thank you. This item was brought forward mostly due to our policy change that we had just brought through the council and this committee. So in that policy, we requested that there would be a 1.5 times the annual claim amount as fund balance within these 2 funds. As you can see from the resolution, the Workers' Compensation Fund has built up quite a hefty balance, and it is well over the 1.5 times that is required. However, the Health Insurance Fund is below that 1.5 time annual claim amount that is required. So because we have done pretty well in the Workers' Compensation Fund, we're requesting that we move some of that fund balance to the Health Insurance Fund. That will make sure that we're compliant with the policies that we just passed, but it will also make sure that there's sufficient cash within that fund in case there's any unexpected increase in claims or anything like that, that we're able to cover those easily for employees.
That makes perfect sense based on policy, and it's nice to hear that we have a balance in the Workers' Compensation Fund due to not needing to have used everything that was allocated to it. Any questions or comments on this one? Alder LaFay?
So that would just be balancing out the books a little bit better then, right?
I would say that's
Okay, yeah,
true.
right. I got it.
All right, if there's no further discussion, then we'd be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval? Aye. All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved. Next up is item 10, which was a direct referral of resolution number 116 of 2425, authorizing entering into a tax incremental district development agreement with Jackham Hall Apartments LLC for the development of former Jackham's Hall site at 1601 North 15th Street.
Good evening. I should have, so before you have a development agreement between, I believe we have the name of that, Jacob Hall Apartments LLC. So this is the Jacob Hall property that the city purchased with ARPA funds. This property, essentially, we have to put an affordable housing project onto the property. So we've worked with a number of developers. Essentially, we settled with this group. They came up with a pretty unique proposal. The neighborhood had requested that nothing over 3 stories be put in there to make sure it ties in with that neighborhood. I think you've got a fire station, you got a couple of buildings that are kind of approaching that 3-story, but not quite there. So we worked with the developer to come up with a project that they felt comfortable with and we thought tied well into the neighborhood. So they're looking at essentially 3-story townhome style apartments. They're looking at 11 one-bedroom, 11 two-bedroom, and 11 three-bedroom. And for the duration of this development agreement, which will go, I believe, 27 years, they're committed that they will meet the county affordability, which changes every year in July. So each year they'll certify the rents that they charged by each category, and then we'll certify whether or not they met that or not. So any questions?
Questions or comments on this one? Alder Decker.
I'm just glad to see that we're getting the 3-bedroom in here, that in the affordability range, because I think that's something that's really lacking in the city, and if we can do that way, it's a big plus.
Thank you. Okay, just one from my end. There was nothing additional as far as city responsibilities goes for this one other than the MRO, right?
Correct. We're, this site, we've used ARPA funds to clean up, so our requirement is that we have it up and operating by December 31st of 2026. So this developer is committed to achieving that deadline for us, so we don't have to worry about repayment of those funds. And part of the ARPA requirement is that we also have the affordable housing as a component to this. So both sides of this meets it. Infrastructure's all there. There's really, we talked about potentially, once the TID is up and there's some increment available, maybe looking at facade improvements to the area, making loans and stuff like that available, but nothing for this development, no.
Thank you.
Yes.
Alder LaFave.
Yes, that's up over Brown, my district there, and I know that there's a hard time getting parking around that area. There was in the development plan enough parking for the complex, correct?
Correct. And that's kind of a subjective question because that's one of the things that's kind of led to so many vacant parking lots in the downtown area is we used to have a very high standard, so we've tried to work more with developers to establish a little better standard. This one, each home or each apartment will have a 1-bedroom garage that will be attached to their unit. And then there's a number of surface level parking lots as well. I believe there are about 2 parking stalls per housing unit, which a lot of our other projects, we've kind of looked more at kind of that 1.5 as being acceptable and working quite well. So I think we should not have parking issues with this project.
That's kind of what I remember in other discussions that we've had about that property, that there would be like 1.5 units approximately for every unit. Place to park the car.
We're just under 2, I believe, is the average. So
okay, I just wanted that.
Yep, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? If not, we'd be looking for motion to approve on this one.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have motion and a second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it and the motion passes. That one is approved.
Thank you.
Next up is a direct referral for item number 11 of resolution number 117 of 2425, authorizing entering into a tax incremental district development agreement with Riverview District LLC for the development of the former Mayline site located at 605 Commerce Street.
All right, thank you. I'll be taking this one as well. So this one, we've been working on this project ever since I came here. The city was in negotiation with this developer prior to my arrival. Some assurances were made to the developer, and they were proceeding in good faith that the city was going to provide the site in the condition that it was promised to them. It became very apparent that that was not possible. So there are a couple different unique things in this development agreement that we didn't see like in the Jacob Hall. One of the things being a $2.5 million grant, the ability to get up to a $2.5 million grant. This is in the project plan for TID 21. We have a number of different components of this project that are in the project plan for TID 21. One would be the environmental site remediation, and the way we referred to that in here was that $2.5 million grant. So I think we budgeted $3 million. In working through the process, we believe the costs are going to be less than 2.5 million. So essentially, in this case, the developer was promised a pad-ready site, which a pad-ready site means that all the contamination is cleaned up. From a cost perspective, the city would have to have removed all of the materials, mitigated all the materials, and then put clean material back on, which would have cost us $5–10 million. We worked with the developer, and they understood that, now that we know the condition of the site, that's not something that's possible. So we worked with them on this grant concept, and essentially the way the grant concept works is we will reimburse them through this grant for costs that they can prove through the site mitigation plan that was developed by the county's consultant that's working through the DNR. Any costs that are used to cap or mitigate the site for the contamination will be reimbursed by the city through this development agreement. You'll note that typically with larger projects, we look at about a 20% reimbursement. This one works out to about, when you look at the full value of 69 million, they're guaranteeing a lower value, but our assessors have assigned a higher value to it. So we're valuing this project at $69 million based on the rent revenues and things like that. So the cost approach, it works out to about a 13 to 15% actual incentive package as opposed to 20%, which we're doing with our larger housing projects. So definitely under what we traditionally have been doing, but this developer is willing to take on that cost, knowing that we're doing these other things and covering their costs there. So smaller incentive on the backside on the PAYCO. We're addressing the site condition because this was unlike where we've seen like with the Optenberg site, we didn't participate at all, but they got a higher, knowing that they have higher costs, we addressed that through the incentive. On this one, we went up front and giving less of an incentive because we're bearing that cost. Some other things that'll happen as a part of this project, we're gonna realign Commerce Street. Obviously, I know there's a lot of concern about the bricks. So we've worked with the developer and we're looking at putting a river walk in and through that area. So we're working with our engineers and with the developer on trying to put as many bricks up as possible back into the project site. So they're gonna look at potentially reusing the bricks in their common areas and as decorations, so they're still visible to the public. And then we're also gonna do the same, not necessarily creating the river walk with the brick, but using it along the sides and the edges to make it kind of an ornamental decoration, so it's still there and kind of in that same area where it's been for decades or for generations. So we're gonna reuse as much as possible there. But we will be realigning Commerce Street. We will be, the plan has a new Riverwalk going in. So we budgeted 3.5 million for Commerce Street realignment, and we budgeted another, I believe, 1.5 for the Riverwalk and kind of the shoreline restoration in that area. Right now, we're thinking all of it will be about $3 million. So we're substantially under budget in the TID budget for this project. So any further questions?
Alder Perrella.
Yeah, just to see if I understood correctly, so we are giving them the grant that is to reimburse their upfront expenses for environmental remediation is capped at 1.5 million.
2.5.
2.5?
Yes.
I thought that 2.5 is what we told them before your arrival.
No, we said we would give them a clean site before I got here.
see.
If you look in the TID 21 project plan, I budgeted 3 million, just to make sure we cash flow, because we're just estimating what it might be. And now that we've gotten through the plan, so the county is funding through a grant that they have, the creation of a mitigation plan, which in this case will involve capping. So we're able to use their building as opposed to hauling everything out. So we'll reimburse them for the areas that have to be capped. And looking through it, the developer's comfortable that will cover his cost. And their builder is involved as well. So we were able to lower that number down because we know it should not exceed that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Just one thing I did want to add with the street project, obviously, the street project's going to come back. That'll have to go through DPW and then ultimately work its way back. But right now, the city is, as a part of this project, and a lot of the infrastructure costs will be covered as a part of that $3 billion that we have in there for the road. But we're looking at extending the Wisconsin Avenue and cul-de-sacing it down by the river. I know that goes through a campground that had a fence for 3 decades, roughly, in that area. The city is going to be putting a number of utilities across that right-of-way. We're looking at our first river crossing that's taken place in about 50 years. And then we're looking at putting sewer in there, and we already have stormwater in there. So a lot of utility work will be going on in that area. And it's not just for this project, it's serving the whole city, or serving that portion of the city. So this has been planned for a while on the water side, and giving us an opportunity on the sewer side to make some improvements to our system down there. And then we're also working with Bitter Newman on the portion of commerce that runs behind their building, in potentially vacating that and turning that into their private parking lot, as opposed to having traffic going through there with them trying to do their loading dock operations. So we're actively working with them on that. And then we will also be relocating the bike trail, and we're working with the county. Basically, the bike trail will shift to the east of the existing road. Obviously, the road will be moving west and the bike trail will be moving east. The point of doing that is the bike trail will no longer cross any of the streets, and will continue over the old rail bridge through that area. So with the exception of 2 driveways, they won't really interact with cars anymore. Now it kind of goes through that intersection of 3 different streets coming together, and you have a bike trail that kind of runs through a portion of the middle of it. So we're trying to improve the biker safety in that area, and we will also be looking at adding a new bus stop that will have bike storage in the bus stop. So some good additions to our public transit system as well.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments on this one? If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second?
All right, we have motion and second, then seeing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, the ayes have it, and the motion passes. That one is approved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is item number 12, which was a direct referral of resolution number 118 of 2425, authorizing entering into a First Amendment to the lease agreement with Shar Incorporated regarding the property at 930 North 8th Street.
This is just the extension of a lease. You had previously entered into a lease after purchasing the Fountain Park restaurant area. This allows the restaurant to continue for a few more months, but only the restaurant, not the hotel. The hotel will still terminate that lease December 1st.
Questions or comments on this one?
And all the other aspects stay the same, right? So the plans stay the same for everything else.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the plans going forward. There was not a need for the city to have access to the restaurant portion,
Right.
so might as well
Right.
let
Very
them
good.
continue to run.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Alder Decker?
I guess this might be even a question for Casey, even, I don't know. Are we working with the Fountain Park Restaurant as far as a relocation at all? Have you done anything to help them out as far as relocation so that they can?
They have not reached out to us in regards to a relocation or assisting them in finding another location.
Okay.
We have had a couple different groups that have approached us, and we've directed them to reach out and contact them, being a private entity. But as far as them reaching out, certainly if they feel that they would like some assistance, we'd be more than happy to provide that. But at this point, they haven't reached out at all.
Okay, just kind of curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder LaFave?
Okay, this is that property that is the restaurant property, and just to the west of that, there's this, for lack of a better word, parking lot. It's more like an open field. That's on the south, just south of Fountain Park, the park itself, and just west of where the restaurant is, correct?
So there's a portion that is not under the control of Shar Inc. that is owned by the school district, so that's not covered by any of
Okay.
this. But in essence, the portion that Shar Inc. has, we're allowing them to continue to run the restaurant, but not the hotel after December 1st.
Okay.
Any further discussion? If not, we would be looking for a motion to approve on this one.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. That one is approved as well. The next regularly scheduled meeting date we have for this committee is November 25th, 2024. And with that, we have exhausted our agenda and are looking for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. The ayes have it. The motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
We need to